enjoy doing this program so much because I wind up learning so much. But the other thing that's very valuable about this is you become aware of the broad range of expertise that is here at Glencroft that really makes life better for the people who choose to live here, and it's a wonderful place to live. You're about to hear an example of that. We have two people with us today that are going to be talking about some technology that Glencroft has put to work, which will literally save lives and save people from falling. Sandro Cilurzo is with us. He is originally from Switzerland. I envy him. I'd like to take a trip to Switzerland, but Sandro is a guy who's had a long background in various forms of technology, and we will get to that in a moment. Sandro, good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here.
And Dorothea Stewart. Dorothea, you and I, as Amerikansies, we just have these normal names. We'll never be able to star in an action thriller like Sandro will be able to. We're just Americans, so and nothing wrong with that. But Dorothea is the Senior Director of Lifestyle here on the Glencroft campus. Dorothea, one of the things we're going to be talking about today with Sandro is a device that you have been working with for a year and a half, which is really a revolutionary device. It is called Paul. How did you come to bring Paul to the Glencroft campus?
We actually first learned about it, and I met Sandro at a conference where he was giving a demo and a presentation regarding Paul.
Now, what I hear from people at Glencroft, for instance, is sometimes the reason that somebody will come to Glencroft is either they have had a death of a spouse or they had a fall. And falls in older people can be quite damaging.
Yes, a lot of our residents come because they have a fall or a change of condition and they need that additional help and care. So here at Glencroft, having Paul helps us to take care of them.
Now, Paul is the device. So, Sandro, what does Paul stand for?
So that's a background story. It's literally the name Paul, which is a reference to, I need to give the background information. So the company name is Helpany. And within that name, help, there's like a symbolic message, because probably you're well aware of this one Beatles song, Help, I Need Somebody, right? Yeah. So when I was considering how to name the device we have invented, for me it was really important that there is a positive association, because this is a device which is installed in the apartment of a resident, right? It's at the ceiling. It's part of their home. Myself, my parents, which are retired too, both of us, or all of us, have really positive memories towards to the Beatles. So I thought it's the perfect name, an homage to Paul McCartney, to name Paul, which is the device, because we want to have a friendly health companion in the homes of the residents we serve. So it's not an acronym. It's literally the name Paul, as an inspiration from Paul McCartney.
That's cool. Now, you said it's placed on the ceiling.
Yes, indeed. So it looks like a smoke detector. Literally, smoke detector size device will be installed at the ceiling in the corner of a room. And that's exactly what happened in Sarah's place and here at Glencroft a year ago. We installed the Paul devices in the corner at the ceiling of these apartments. And really important, Paul is really special because this technology has been invented out of senior living in Switzerland for senior living. Why this is so important to highlight? Because it's a privacy-preserving technology. No camera, no microphone. Within Paul, there is no camera, no microphone. It's a tailor-made privacy-preserving technology, which is a special kind of motion sensing technology. It's our own radar, which we have invented for that. So it's based on radio waves. And Paul can understand human motion patterns, like how residents are walking around, how they take the steps, how do they rest at night. Paul understands all these motion patterns that he can serve as literally as a caregiver assistant to the team of Dorothea. And that's the difference why this is a prevention-focused technology, because Paul can spot if a resident has an elevated risk of falling before they fell. The changes in how they move, the changes in their motion patterns is highly predictive for someone having an elevated risk of falling. And when staff members are empowered with that information, they can be proactive and make interventions before the fall happens.
We're going to have to make a list. This is yet another reason for why, if you're looking for senior living, you would want to be at Glencroft. Falls are very consequential for older people, and I want to emphasize that. You can fall at 3 years old and bounce right back up because of all that baby fat. But if you fall in your 70s, if you have osteoporosis, for instance, or things like that, it could be quite damaging, without a doubt. Now, we're going to go into a lot of detail in regard to this in our 2 segments, but this is not like a motion detector in the sense that it just sees motion. This is a case of where it's doing something so much more significant, because I'll let you answer it in depth, but essentially it's a case of where it's not just seeing that, oh, he's out of bed. It's a case of where it's seeing the fact that there's something about the way a man or woman is moving that might mean that they could fall.
Yes, that's correct. And I think that's really important to emphasize. A regular classical motion sensor, the ones which we are all well aware of, let's say in a public bathroom, you need to wave with your hands to get the light on. That's a classical motion sensor. Motion, no motion, really simple. Paul is fundamentally different. This technology allows Paul to understand what kind of motion pattern is happening where in the room in real time. And the core technology behind the scenes, which is the main field of expertise of my company, is artificial intelligence. That's why this all works. It literally, the AI behind the scenes can interpret and make sense out of those motion patterns of all the different individuals in the room. And based on this analysis, it's possible to spot early signs of an elevated risk of falling, because many people are not aware that how we move matters a lot. Let's think about when somebody walks from A to B within that room. There are many indicators: step length, how fast am I able to walk? Do I have like any balance challenges while I'm walking? Am I wobbling on my feet? But it's not only about how we move around. Equally relevant for the team at Dorothea, like with Dorothea, is to understand, let's say, how somebody is able to recover at night. When I am in a resting position in my bed, Paul will understand that I am in a resting position, because gait, posture, and size changes. When I lie down on my bed, that's different for Paul. And again, really important, he cannot see because there is no camera, but he senses those motion patterns. And then he's able to understand when somebody has, let's say, more frequent tossing and turning at night, sudden bursts of agitation in the early morning hours, or restless leg syndrome, more frequent bathroom visits. Everything is motion related, and Paul is connecting these dots and informs staff members about those high-risk individuals before they fall, that they can make decisions, that they can reassess if the service plan or care plan is appropriate. And that's why this is a proactive care approach. And one of the many outcomes is having fewer falls.
Now, let me pose this question to you. Does Paul have memory? In other words, does Paul remember that, for instance, when Dorothea brought a new resident into the organization, and the person had a particular gait or motion, does it have a memory that a year or 2 years later that maybe that person is moving differently?
Yes. Short answer, yes, absolutely. And why all of that works is because, again, I founded the company May 2019. Switzerland, operating 7 years. Before we came to the US, we were working in Switzerland and had many of these poles up and running for a long time. What Paul does is he understands those motion patterns on an individual level, because all of us are unique, but he leverages what he observed and learned over time, over the whole population Paul was serving globally. This is why he's so powerful, because he's analyzing individual motion patterns of a resident. And as you gave the example, somebody can be thriving in the beginning of the relationship, the first 3, 4, 5 months. But how do you know if there's a sudden gradual decline day by day? That's exactly where Paul then can be so helpful to spot the residents where they are not even aware of that they have an elevated risk of falling, because how could they?
Well, age just comes on us. We're going to come back. Paul is with us, along with Sandro Cilurzo and Dorothea Stewart. Sandro is the creator of Paul. We're going to talk more about this, because I have to say this is something. It's a service that is provided here at Glencroft that's a game changer, because I've often also heard that when that fall occurs, it can be a inflection point for people in their lives, and their life pre-fall and post-fall will be different. Dorothea Stewart is the Senior Director of Lifestyle here at Glencroft. We will continue in a moment.